Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? This is BC. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I got another special interview for you today. We'll get right into it. Shout out to Team BC. Shout out to Modern Success. Today, I brought on Blake. I'm going to let him introduce himself here in a second, but Blake has been a Modern Success member for a while. He's been doing his thing, really focuses on marketing, and I wanted to have him come on, not only to interview him, but to talk marketing today a little bit with him, because I know it's a subject that people are interested in. So Blake, welcome to the show, my friend. What's up?
Yeah, bro. I think thanks for having me. I've been following you for a while. I discovered you on YouTube, and uh, like you are the person that you are online, and I was excited to be a part of Modern Success. I think everybody should join that, bro. I know you said it in the intro, but I think everybody should join just for the strength of like who you become, man. I think that's very important. But uh, my name is Blake Hicks, owner of Blake Hicks Marketing, where I specifically work in the real estate space, specifically with realtors to help them get listing appointments and also leads. And I do that. Well, I'll talk a little bit about how I do that. But yeah, it's pretty much it. And since learning from Bryan, I also have a couple of rental properties too, and I'm just trying to build up. Kind of fell into real estate. Wasn't my intention, but it kind of, I don't want to say came easy to me, but I've grown to love it a lot.
Yeah, man. I saw when you posted that you bought, it was your second one, right?
Yeah.
Love it, bro. So now I kind of want to pivot for a second and ask you this. How is it being younger and having a kid and being an entrepreneur?
Man, so it forces you to be on a grind because like being an entrepreneur, nobody's gonna come save you. But then when you have a little one depending on you, bro, it's like you can't take your foot off the gas. It gives you a different why, even when you don't feel like doing it. You gotta constantly pound the pavement. You just get out there and make it happen.
Why did you choose marketing and specifically, helping real estate agents? Because I know you have a ton of choices. What made you really zero in on that?
Yeah, good question. So last year I was working with a guy who sold specifically barbecue sauce. Like I ran a Facebook ad and we did a Zoom call. I closed him. And so he was like, I have this realtor. She's newer. She's struggling to get leads. So we ran a campaign and she had got like 40 leads in a month. But then once you get someone online leads, you run into a different problem because they don't care about the leads if they can't close them, right? Mm. But I realized like I can't just get them the leads. I have to help them with their inbound lead call. Like I gave them a script, and then I had to like set it up to where the system, they set an appointment. Like I just trying to take as much work for them because realtors, y'all have a lot of work as it is. So I try to like take as much work off of your plate just to make it a seamless process. And so just kind of like getting that referral, just like, man, I actually enjoy doing this. And Facebook makes it very tough to advertise as a realtor because of the special category, which I'll talk about like how to circumvent that. But yeah, man, it kind of was just off a referral from some barbecue sauce.
That's so funny. I didn't even know that, bro. That's funny.
Yeah.
What a cool story, man. So
yeah.
Let's talk marketing a little bit. What are some of the, the things that maybe if you can share one or two tactics or things that maybe people miss when it comes to marketing, because we know that's huge. We push prospecting a lot. That's an active marketing, right? What you do is, an addition to that, like a bonus. What are some of those things that maybe people are overlooking as we dive deeper into the topic?
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is clarity. So like you live in Miami now, right? So real estate, when people say they do real estate, it's like, what does that mean, right? Like that, if you ask 10 people whether they do real estate, you'll get 12 different answers. Yeah. So I think, and even when you say marketing, like what is marketing, right? Like if you ask a dozen people, like you'll get a plethora of answers. So I just think it's like having that clarity because when you're marketing, if your message isn't talking to one person, like when I write an ad, I'm acting like I'm talking to one exact person. So like I'm acting like I'm talking to you because I want people with the same characteristics as you, but I have to think of it as I'm talking just to BC, right? Because if I try to, the broader you get, it's going to fall on deaf ears. And with special category being what it is on Facebook, you're not going to get anybody. So your message, and when I say your message, I mean like the content that you're posting, like the ad copy, the text on the ad, and also the video. And that's why, like, I'm sure you would agree, bro. I always say a picture says 1,000 words, but a video says 1,000,000. And I don't think people, even with the pandemic, I feel like realtors still don't produce enough content.
Yeah, I agree, man. Why do you think people do that? Why do you think people shotgun instead of like really going for that one person in marketing? Why do you think most people do that?
because they think they're going to leave money on the table. And I just finished reading this book. It's so funny. It's called The $100 Million Offers, and he said that every person that he coaches, he says they have to get niche slap, like bitch slap, but he said you have to get niche slap because so many people want to work with everybody, but you need to just niche down because it's like they say, the riches are in the niches. So if you're in real estate and you want to focus on luxury, like, all right, just focus on that. Like you maybe still get some layups from people who are, under $1 million, but if that's not your focus, you shouldn't try to serve everybody. Like it's the same thing what you always talk about, bro. It's like you are who you are unapologetically, and you don't try to serve everybody. Like you know what MS is for. It's not for everybody, right? And you'll go further, and then people will appreciate that too.
Absolutely. So do you focus particularly with like new agents, seasoned agents? Like what are you looking for in the people that you do choose?
Good question. So I was focused on newer agents, but the problem I was running into is a lot of times they don't have the money and they don't have the database, right? Like, so they don't have, like they always talk about like, there's no elevator to success. You have to take the stairs. So they haven't like made it up the stairs yet to be to where it will be sustainable for them to take the leads. I still think they have to do some of the groundwork. So I'd rather work with seasoned agents. And that's a pivot I had to make this year. So I got rid of all my people who were newer, because another thing was too, and you probably can relate to this, the newer agents sometimes think that it's supposed to just come easy to them, right? And so if I'm telling you, like, you may have to follow up this lead several times because it's not a referral. A referral is so different. It's like a referral is almost like taking an order at a restaurant versus a lead. You actually have to like nurture and massage it and like build that rapport.
Right. So I would say about half my audience of realtors is newer agents. What are some tips you can give them to get them ready to climb that, ladder or set of stairs to get them to the position where they can say, okay, hey, Blake, I want to do some marketing. Let's go.
Yeah, definitely. I just had this conversation with a realtor yesterday. So I told him to subscribe to your YouTube channel. That's the first thing. But secondly, man, I told them to just be consistent with what the agents who are successful did when they started out. Because it's no point in, hold on. It's no point in, okay, all right. All right, we'll draw another one later. But it's no point in inventing the wheel. So for instance, if like how you started out, you were door knocking and then you built up enough book of business where you get referrals and then build a team. So I think they should start out doing that. Another thing too is like, I haven't tapped into it yet, but I'm about to start tapping into TikTok. But if they're not doing TikTok and you're on Facebook and Instagram, one hack that they can do, just I'll give to your artist right now, is go on BuzzFeed and type in real estate. Because BuzzFeed, what they do is these authors who write this content give the most catchiest headlines. And that could be titles to all their YouTube videos. That could be like content that they can produce on Facebook, Instagram, syndicated all across the platforms, because they were so catchy, bro. Like I almost want to click on every one of those articles and read them. And that's what you want. Like you want people to absorb your content, not just like scroll past you, because we live in a world where even when you're running an ad, you're disrupting someone, right? Like they were scrolling on Instagram out of boredom or whatever, but you interrupted them. So if you're going to interrupt them, make it worth their time.
I love that, man. And those are some good ideas. Something that I always push, and I kind of want to get your take on it, is, we could have the perfect strategy. We could do everything perfectly, but if we're not putting our message out, whether it's paid or for free, consistent enough, you get lost in the mix because there are so many people out there. Would you say that above all, consistency is the most important thing? Or do you think it's like, somewhere like second, third, fourth? Where do you think it is?
No, I think consistency is the most important thing. And what comes to mind when I say that is, I remember you said on a podcast maybe a couple months ago of how like you're making that cash deposit every day when you're being consistent, but you don't know when you're going to be able to cash in. But I'll give you an example. So when we discussed about being on a podcast, I was like following up with my leads that had responded to my Facebook ad. But one dude had hung up in my face, right? And right after that, I got a text from you like, "Hey man, you want to be on my podcast?" So it's just like, you just got to keep being consistent, because this is a win for me, right? Being here, and I'm happy to add value to your audience, bro. But yeah, that's pretty much what I would say.
Okay. As we continue, man, biggest, I don't know, maybe top 2 or 3 mistakes you see people make when they like run an ad or when they market themselves?
Biggest mistakes, I would say that they're boring. Like boring will put you out of business so quick, bro. Like people just are scared for some reason, scared to be themselves. And like as a realtor, like everybody has that one profile picture as a realtor. It's like, I already know you're a realtor just based on your profile picture, right? You know what I'm saying? Like just be yourself as much as possible. Like I'm here, I have my daughter in some of my videos, and that appeals to a certain type of person, right? Like it shows a different side of me. Like, cause I don't say she is in my life, but she's a big part of my life, right? So I show that side, eventually want to have a Lambo, like, so I'll appeal to that crowd too. But yeah, I think boring will put you out of business so quick. So I just think, and you don't have to be funny because not everybody's funny. Like some people just don't have that ability to be like a Dave Chappelle, right? But if you can make people smile, that's just as good as being funny, I think.
What else, man? Because I know the boring one is big, and you hit the nail on the head when you said funny. People think that funny is like the opposite of boring, but that's not what we mean. We're not saying be a comedian, right?
Right.
So boring. What else do you think it is?
I think being boring. I think not being authentic. Like because because here's what happens if I make an ad and I'm cursing, well, Facebook, you can't curse on the ad, but let's just say like I'm doing some wild stuff that shows, like, let's say I'm an obnoxious person, but I'm trying to be like mellow and chill on the video. But then when they meet me on a call or if I'm now their realtor, I'm not like that. I'm not gonna get that deal. And I may not even know why, but that might have been the reason, right? So I just think that having that congruency, like who you are when they first step into your world, be that same person throughout. I think that's like huge as far as like connecting with people.
Yeah, I love that, man. And I think that's more of like a confidence thing, a certainty in yourself. Because
Yes.
even with me, I saw that line being blurred more as far as me being two different people. Is like I stepped my game up and became better and got more confident. That line blurred, and then I was just me everywhere. You know, it wasn't that I was, faking, but you didn't have that. I didn't have that like that that confidence to be like, hey, this is me 100%. I was giving like 50 or 60% instead of 100%, Yes. And I think that has a lot to do with, even what you mentioned, like a lot of people don't have the things in place for when, they do run the ads, having the systems and all that, because that's the basics. And we tell people to do it, but they want to, run around it. And you're only going to run around and skip around and look for a magic bullet, if you're not confident and you're not putting in the work and you're not the expert. Because,
right.
When you produce the ad, or even if you don't do a Facebook ad, let's say I do mailers or put some stuff out to market myself. And when people call or they contact me, the moment you pick up the phone, even how you say hello already gives them an idea of what you're about. And if the ad or the marketing portrayed expert number one and you're fumbling on the phone, you know what I mean? Then right away,
you lose credibility.
Exactly. You lose credibility and all that. So a lot of people will put money into it and they get nothing out of it. So moving forward, right, as we look into the future, what are some things from a marketing standpoint that you think are going to shift or change like in the next 12, 24, 36 months?
It's a good question. So I think if you don't have an online presence, you're going to get boxed out. As a realtor, I think you're really going to get boxed out. So for the people who are scared to turn the camera on, who are scared to be themselves on camera, I think they're going to get boxed out, because what the pandemic showed us is the world's still going to go on. And I think real estate didn't slow down at all, if you ask me. Like, I think it did the exact opposite. Yep. So for those people who just won't get on camera, also for people who don't invest in themselves, bro, like it blows my mind how many people, like, for instance, I can tell you invested a lot into yourself, like time, money, effort. And I'm not just talking about money. I said like time and effort too, but a lot of people just don't want to invest in themselves. I think those people as well, if you're not investing to yourself, like at least 5 to 10% of what you make in a year, then you're losing.
Well, for a lot of people, that 5 to 10% is pennies, bro. So that's why they can't.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
This is one thing that I want to add to that, bro. And this is something that I think is really important. So we're talking about marketing here, right? Regardless of what we're talking about, right? It really comes down to the priorities of an individual. If getting and putting money back into the business to produce more leads is a priority, and we get on a call, or you get on the call with that realtor, the close in quotes is going to be easy because you're on the phone with somebody who means business and knows what they're going to do.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? And I think that comes down to the individual being clear on what they want to do. Because then when you meet people, that vibe comes across. If like in my personal life, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not clear, my priorities are messed up. Well, how am I going to care about a customer? how am I going to be diligent when I get the leads that you produce to follow up and have a system and have the, the mental capacity to say, okay, it's not just going to be handed to me, on a platter, silver platter. I got to put in the work now. And if the lead comes in, I have to set up that process, have the database, and know, hey, I got to touch them 3 more times. Right. So that to me comes down to your dedication and what it is that you're doing. Cause, and I'll pass it back to you. Maybe another mistake is people are like, okay, I'm going to do ads for like 2 months and that's it. Like when I look at marketing, or, I go to you, or a realtor goes to you, would you agree that the mentality needs to be, I'm doing this like for life and I got to commit?
Yes.
Would you agree?
100%. I think the expectation, I'm so glad you said that. Like, even when they get a lead, the expectation has been wrong. And I'll blame myself first for like not setting it properly. But now I haven't had that issue. But I will say that, yes, 100%. Like, people say I want to run ads, everything's a test. Like, I just want to test it out for a couple months and see what happens. But it's like, bro, if you would have kept going for maybe 6 months, you could have exploded, because it only takes one ad. It takes one video. I'm sure you've got to see this because you had a couple viral videos, bro. You just never know which video is going to just take off. You never know which ad's going to take off. You never know who's seeing your ad. And I just think that's amazing. Like, how you're able to close a client online. Don't even have to leave a house that you've never met. Now, real estate is different because you're going to it's more hands-on, it's more personable, but at the same time, it's a little bit different. So I think just setting the proper expectations of them getting just getting their hands dirty, bro, like making sure that they're not letting them fall through the cracks. And they may have to have some automation to it. And I'm sure, like, so I was going to ask you, like, when a lead comes in for your team, is it automated to some degree, or are they like calling them immediately? Like, how's that go for y'all right now?
Yeah, we have a multiple step process, but partially, automated. And the other part is manual, right? The person has to go in and text and call and do all that other stuff. And then depending on, what that conversation sounded like, what the time frame is, they're going to go into different categories, right? So it does start with that back end system, but it requires that user operating at a high level to maximize that system, right? So it's 2 things that are really important. But anything that we do, right, going back to the previous point, even if it's something that we are testing, it's already implemented as if we're leaving it forever, right? That's the prevailing mentality, because that's what you need, bro, no matter what you do. But take a step back. Take a step back, right? Anybody who signs up with you, I guarantee you that if you were to look in their personal life, they do commit to things and they do plan long term, right? That's why it aligned and they are working with you. The people who just want to test it are the same people who get into the business saying, I'm just going to test this. And we know where that leads to, being, the 9 out of 10 that fail out of the business, right?
Yes.
So if you were to recommend somebody's, talking to you, or just generally, if someone is going to invest in marketing, what's the minimum time frame that they should, 1, stick to a particular ad or marketing piece, and then 2, how long minimum should a campaign be? 6 months, 12 months, 2 years? What do you think?
I think they should give it 3 months, and if it's not a good fit, we can part ways. But I still think that they should run ads. Maybe I just wasn't the person. But I think what some people don't realize about Facebook, it's not like when you do a billboard ad or a bench ad, or you put it on a back of a bus or something, like ensuring that you're the local realtor. It's a lot different. So it's like a faucet. If the ad isn't working, you can turn it off and then make a data-driven decision on what to change. And there's certain metrics that you look at, like cost per lead, CTR, which stands for click-through rate. Like, you look at those things to determine what to change, versus just throwing money to the radio man and like just kind of just hoping it works out, right? So, and I think that with my experience, like, I know what to change, and a lot of it has to do with just the video, bro. Like, because I posted in the group the other day, and I'll share this with the audience. I think it'll be helpful. So, since you can't target with real estate at all, because it's a special category, what you can do is you can retarget people who watch most of your video. So if they watch most of your video, 9 times out of 10, one, they thought you were entertaining, or they enjoyed the content, or they actually could use your help. They might be thinking about selling their house. So you just retarget them if they haven't become a lead yet, and just keep retargeting them and create another video saying, hey, remember me? You watched my whole video and we didn't set up a call yet, a listening appointment, man. What's going on? So, like, you can constantly follow them around the internet. And I think that a lot of people sleep on that. And the leads are so much cheaper when you do retargeting.
Yeah, right. I agree. Now, last question I have for you, bro, and then we'll wrap up.
Okay.
I think people have false misconceptions about, especially if we're going to do it long term, how much money needs to be set aside? What would be kind of like a target number you think people should set aside to have for, running Facebook ads or something like that?
Gotcha. Well, I think that their ad budget should be at least $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Because here's how I look at it, bro. The average, what would you say the average house is in America? Like 300,000?
Yeah.
300,000. So like the commissions, give or take 3% of that. So what's that number? About
9,000. 9,000.
Okay, 9,000. So if you close 1 out of 20 in a 30 to 60-day period, it pays for itself. You know what I'm saying? Like fivefold. So it just makes sense for them to invest in ads. And they just add, especially if you're a seasoned realtor, it only adds gasoline on what you're doing. And there's so many other things I could say, but we'll probably have to do another episode, man. But it's a lot that you could do if you have a database already. That's why I like to work with seasoned realtors, because it's so much work in the beginning, and I just don't want to do anybody a disservice. Like, because there's so many other things that they could do that's free that can build them up to that, like we mentioned earlier.
I agree, man. And then once you start, getting a couple commissions and you have that base, not only are you better equipped to handle the leads that come in and actually close them, but now you have money coming in and you can use that to supercharge and have more money come in, right? Because then you can supplement. So thanks for coming on, bro. I want to give you the opportunity now to shout out, right, your program, your social media handles or whatever it is. That way we can wrap up.
Yeah, any realtors that just want to make an informed decision and just see my system, you can reach out to me on Instagram at @BlakeHicks or shoot me a DM. I'll be happy to set up a call with you. My website is blakehicksmarketing.com. I have a free case study on there that you can check out, as well as on Facebook, Blake Hicks, and on TikTok, I don't even know my name on it. My niece created it. I gotta get with that. But yeah, man, just hit me up on Instagram and we'll take it from there. Cool.
Yeah, just send me the links, man, and I'll post it in the description of the podcast.
Sounds good, man.
Cool. All right, man. Thanks for coming on. Peace out, everybody. Another episode of Supreme Being. Shout out to MS, Team BC, and everybody else. We'll see you on the next episode. Peace.